how you can estimate engineering time, I mean, when to start, if you never have seen the design.
There's designs out there which is kind of like Apple, which can be fancy and annoying at the same time.
If you look at from an engineer perspective, they will tell you, are you crazy?
You feel like extremely stupid when you have to Google how to do something on your phone.
Majority of the companies see designers as a like decoration and as a afterthought.
Essentially what you've done is you've wasted so many hours doing the work, but then nobody knows about that work.
If you are saying that we are a family, then you have to treat me also like a family.
It never works like that.
Toxic environment or toxic workplace is for everyone different.
You either should learn or earn.
I will never go back to outsourcing, to this agency model.
Try to use your time wisely, because as you said, meetings can be a nightmare.
We actually don't need you here, or your position or your role or your department is not priority that makes something with you.
One reaction that I would take is not give a shit. Like, okay.
I prefer clarity rather than noise and big tom-tom and 50 shades of everything.
At some point, every product, every company dies.
10 years passed, a lot of countries like Moldova, which is not part of the European Union, it's far ahead of Germany.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of VUnstaged with yet another special guest. And I keep saying special guest because everybody's special on this podcast, because I'm trying to invite people that have an interesting story, special people to have special conversations with. And the other reason it's special is because we're recording this on 31st, which is kind of interesting because people usually prefer to do other stuff, but we decided to have a conversation and drink some amazing wine. So without too much blabbing, I'll hand it over to you. So if you can tell us your name, what do you do for a living? And I ask this everyone, what is your story and how did you get into tech? Because everyone has their unique, interesting story.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. And thank you for having me here. My name is Ramona Ziemann. And what I'm doing for a living, I'm doing basically two things. I'm doing two things. One is I work at Moldova's e-governance agency, where I design digital public services with the main goal of creating a digital state, a fully digital state. Which
is that like a public service agency and stuff?
Yes. And with the main goal that as well citizens have great user experience while using those digital services. And the second thing is what I'm doing for a living, and that is like my little baby. I'm running a head studio, and a head studio is a growth design and analytics focused agency. So we help companies track how their users are using their product, how they behave while using their product. So we are taking this data, we're analyzing this data, and fix basically the broken funnels, fix the bad user experience or the frictions, improving the user experience, and ideally increasing the conversion rate.
Yeah. And what's your story?
I'm my whole life a designer. So I studied design, but really getting into tech, and for me, meaning working in tech means where the amount of engineers is higher than designers, because I worked all my life somehow in creative agencies where we are all just designers. And so the first time when I moved to Moldova, basically, that is like my first IT tech experience. And that's my story.
Was there like, because a lot of people say it's gaming or like PlayStation or like some kind of
okay.
like how they got into it, and then that was like the trigger, and then they picked it up and they loved it,
I don't have a very specific like trigger, I don't know.
You just knew right away?
I just knew right away that I want to do something with art or design. I think I called it in the past art, but then it transformed into, hey, there is like more. There is something else that is creative, which was like design.
Yeah.
I studied art and design. That is like the cool thing. So I studied like 3 years, like really painting and art history. And the other 3 years were like specializing into different directions. It was like multimedia in the past, it was editorial design and like branding. And I went into the direction of multimedia.
Yeah.
But I was not working in this multimedia thing immediately. I worked many years in branding agencies in the like a department of packaging design.
Interesting.
And I kind of stayed in this area, advertising, da-da-dum, but real dealing with websites, apps, that came really when I came to Moldova. That
Before we talk about that
Yeah.
story, there's usually two stories.
Yeah.
The story you tell people before you drink some wine, and the story you tell after you drink some wine.
Yeah.
So I want to hear the latter, you know? And because it smells like wine and I'm kind of, I'm looking at it and then I'm looking at you and then I'm looking at it, I kind of want to introduce the wine. So the
Yeah.
drink of choice for today is the usual one. Well, most of the times is this one. It's red wine. And we have Cabernet Sauvignon is the same. We just have two different brands, one from Purcari, the other one from Novak. We'll see which one you like better because the tradition of the show is at the end you have to pick a bottle.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll taste another bottle when we take a small break.
Good.
That being said, well, you kind of did spoil the show before that, and I said nobody was gonna know, but I guess people know that you did taste it before that.
Yes.
But I guess I am now ready for hearing the story. And when I say the story, I meant you mentioned when you moved back to Moldova, and I was
Not back. I moved
two.
Yeah.
Two. Sorry, my bad. When you moved to Moldova, and your name is kind of not Moldovan,
Yeah.
and I was really curious how, like, what's your story behind Moldova, and what exactly attracted you to Moldova?
I have a partner which didn't want to move. So my partner is Moldovan, and we met in Moldova, and we had for a year like a long distance relationship. And it's like really, it's 10, no, it's actually 11 years ago. Yeah, 11 years ago. And yeah, he didn't want to move. And I was back in the days of
Stubborn
like,
guy.
hey, want to change my life, and didn't understood what is Moldova. But I have a partner which lives here, and I was like, hi, let's move to Moldova.
Yeah, that's
So
that's a one.
that's what
How did you end up here in the first place? Because you said you met him in Moldova.
I went with a friend on like a road trip.
Yeah.
Bucharest, Chisinau, Tiraspol, Odessa.
Go have some fun, drink some wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is how we met. Like
Interesting.
common friends, and yeah.
I guess good for him that he's stubborn.
Yeah.
Because now you know about Moldova. You're kind of Moldovan a little bit. Well, if you're drinking wine, you're kind of Moldovan. So.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm making basically 26th of January 10 years.
10 years. Congrats. Are you a citizen?
No, not yet.
How come?
Because you have like two options. Either you marry someone.
Yeah.
But we are not married. And the second thing is you have to be 10 years here.
10 years for citizenship?
Yes.
Holy shit. Like, I thought other countries are like, I think Germany is like 8 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but they also had like 12 years, then they reduce it to 10, and then it's like 8, I think. But yeah, the rule is 10 years. If you're not married, if there are some
10 years for this country, like yeah, I'm confused because I'm a citizen. I'm like, this is the funny part. When you're a citizen of your country, you don't fully understand like all the, let's say, barriers that are imposed on other people that perhaps want to be citizens, which is a bit funny. Anyway, you mentioned something interesting, that you are doing art and design. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people that do not understand the concept of UI and UX, because you mentioned UX quite a few times. So for all the noobs out there, uh, what is UI? What is UX? And more importantly, uh, I was wondering, is something which looks fancy and beautiful always practical and always what we define as user experience?
Okay, so if we break down the words UI and UX, UI stands for user interface. So if we take an app or a website, let's take an app as an example. What you see on your phone is like the colors, the fonts, the buttons, the components like inputs, gradients, icons. This is UI. That the UI is basically how does it look. UX, which stands for user experience, is basically the way how you interact with an application, for example. If you use an application, if you use a website, the user experience is basically how does it make you feel? How does it work for you? Do you actually understand how is the experience while using a certain app? If you want to navigate from A to B, how does it make you feel? Does it work? Is it slow? Is it fast? Is it easy to use? Is it, do you understand the steps which you have to make? Are the steps clear? If you have 20 steps, which is a lot, might be considered as bad UX, but if those 20 steps are needed for a certain purpose and they are very clear to you, that is basically the UX behind that. I mean, the experience, the journey which you have with the platform or with the app or with the website. The other
The other
question.
question was, a lot of people when think design,
Mm-hmm.
they immediately think beautiful shit, fancy
Ah,
stuff, whatever's trendy, whatever looks unusual and whatnot. And how many times you yourself have been using stuff that just looks good, but you're just really pissed off when you're using it because the
there.
people designing it didn't necessarily grasp the concept of user experience.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of this. I cannot name you now something, but there are plenty of platforms, apps, or whatever websites which look nice, but they are useless for you, or they are not giving you actually what you came for. Or it's somehow hidden under some fancy animations, and yeah, it looks nice, but you want to you want to do something there, right? You came you came
Obviously.
you came to yeah. I was laughing a bit when you was mentioning this topic because I'm packaging victim. When I'm going for shopping, I'm usually buying, like when I'm buying products and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
seeing in the shelves, I'm
yeah.
usually picking the nice nice packaging, even if it's more expensive. But that's the cool thing on packaging, right? So you are attracting not through UX, but you are getting people's attention through nice UI. And then you actually experience the UX, how the packaging is opening, is it
Yeah, yeah.
difficult? So here is a
If you
bit,
think about like Apple, I
yeah.
think their whole like ideology almost
Yeah.
relies on packaging
Yes.
and making sure that
Yeah.
since you
Here.
unzip that thing,
Yes. Yes.
the experience is
Exactly.
unforgettable. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you mentioned packaging, and my immediate thought went Apple.
Yeah.
Like my first experience when I unboxed an Apple, it was a relatively small MacBook, not super expensive, super like crazy and whatnot, but the experience of unpacking that,
Exactly. And that's
you
what.
never forget it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what Apple is very good in. So they are good in this minimalistic, UI. For us, this minimalistic style, what Apple has is beautiful, right? But the experience, as you said, with the packaging, that's the whole
Even when you
thing
like
about.
lift the fucking
Exactly.
box,
That's the whole thing. That's the
like
whole
you lift it up and
experience,
it goes super slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like anticipation starts to build.
That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah, like I don't know, like the reason I ask this question is because so many times I'm so frustrated with like extremely beautiful stuff, as you said, but you just want to mind your business, you just want to do something, as you said, right? You land on a web page, you download an app, I don't know, like any kind of software utility you're trying to use. If it's not usable, let's start with usable first, and then let's try and make it beautiful, maybe, you know. And when I think about how people used to do, like if you go back to the web 101, people used to do like tables, stupid ugly buttons, search inputs and stuff like that, and they just fucking worked, right?
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
didn't you
It
didn't
doesn't
put
look
a
nice,
lot of
but
effort into
it works.
animating that,
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
look good. Then css came along, people started making things fancy, then you have designers making things even fancier, and you get all that stuff, which is nice and good. But you get to the point where like people forget that, like what's the UI in the first place for. And you have stupid things like what is it, like inputs, and instead of like inputting a number, you like it's like a picker where you
Ah,
have
yeah.
to
Yeah. Mhm.
press it 100 times to go to like 100 and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like stupid stuff like that. So are you of the opinion that designers sometimes can be out of touch, not in contact with reality, meaning they build something, they design something, but they don't fully, like they don't take the user journey themselves. Like, let's try and walk through this product and see how, what's going to be my experience. Is it going to be a good one, a fast one, a nice one, or frustrating, annoying, and yeah, it's beautiful, fancy.
Yeah, of course, there are designers which we call it under our designers community dribble designers, you know?
Dribble,
Dribble designer. Do you know dribble?
dribble.
Dribble
I
is,
know dribble,
yeah, dribble.
like the basketball thing.
Yes, but there
Yeah.
is a website dribble where designers can post
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
their
dribble. It's like
work.
Behance and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
something like
Yeah, yeah,
Behance.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to dribble,
Yeah.
then everything is like very colorful gradients. Everything is fancy, nice, animation. There are very cool concepts and very cool designs. But if you look at from an engineer perspective, they will tell you, "Are you crazy?" Like, first of all, it's very difficult to implement, and it's not sometimes useful in reality. And but on the other hand, I like designers if they explore those crazy things, if they are getting, if they are exploring ideas which are fancy or
Yeah, that's why you're a designer in the first place. Like there is this element of creativity,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
But as you said, usability is,
But the usability sucks in that way, and some certain concepts or some ideas are not applicable in real life, in real environment. How to fix that is really putting those designers with their ideas in front of real users, watching them, how they might struggle, how they might interact with that. And that's basically where where you can understand that, okay, maybe that fancy design is not necessarily needed. Maybe we can even simplify it, keep the styling somehow, but make it focus more on the content and what it should bring to the end user.
does interaction with, because I noticed a lot of the times designers kind of have their own little shell.
Mhm.
Like not all companies slash projects they're involved in, designers are participating in all the ceremonies, meetings, and whatnot. And on the contrary, I've been part of many startups, like
Mhm.
small greenfield projects, where they have a designer, and the designer would show up in every meeting, and we would go round on a usual daily ceremony where everybody says what they did, whatever they plan to do, and stuff like that. And then you have refinements, you have the casual, let's call it sprint or sorry, scrum ceremonies and whatnot. And when designers get to interact with the engineers and the engineers get to confront their design, I think there's value in that. And I'm wondering whether those designs, those dribble designers, as you put it, as you call it, end up being in that position because of lack of interaction with, let's say, the engineers who will implement that slash users.
No, I mean, I don't want to make those Dribble designers or the designers which post on Dribble now somehow bad. I mean, it's a cool platform where you can share what you are able to do. But if there are designers in I don't know, working for Ego, for example, yeah, or working for I don't know any other company where you design, for example, a application for a bank, cannot come up with some some fancy animations
Out
which
of the
have
blue
no
concept.
out of a blue concept which doesn't have any meaning or value to your business to that business.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that's a general problem in the design industry somehow, that not every company is like design driven, right? And sees design as a strategic arm actually, or because majority of the companies see designers as a like decoration and as a afterthought.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
first thinking about architecture, informational structure, how many engineers we are putting now on this project, how many backend, and at the end, when front end is done with their structure, let's put some UI on top of it, and of course, it's not everywhere like this, but and then designers are living in this environment where they are not appreciated, where they are not valuable, where they are not supposed to do their work. They never see a end user of their product. Then once you have the stage of showing what you can offer to the table, then sometimes those fancy designs appear, because that you are hungry of like showing off what you can do and how maybe this fanciness can be somehow somewhere seen as like, oh
The way I've seen it personally, it depends who's leading the company,
yes,
right?
exactly.
So if you have a engineering led management, meaning people that focus on the engineering rather than marketing, sales, and all that, then a lot of the times they'll prioritize engineering, and they'll just keep rushing marketing and publishing the product at the very end of the stage. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because it happens with even like content creation, right? You put so much effort into making a video, and you spend so little time on marketing it, on distributing it, on working on that beautiful thumbnail and whatnot. Essentially what you've done is you've wasted so many hours doing the work, but then nobody knows about that work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I spoke the other day with a startup founder, and he mentioned this idea of when you like run a startup or begin a startup, it's very critical to have other co-founders that are not necessarily technical or engineers, because like you need people that focus on your product actually getting some popularity and actually being sold, being marketed, right? So yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned this idea of design not being prioritized, because I think I've seen it. Like I'll be honest, like I've been part of companies where it was one or the like it was one extreme or the other extreme. It was either a
Yeah,
lot
for
of
me the same.
marketing and bullshit product,
Yeah.
or or a really good product but really shitty marketing and design. It's hard to kind of get both of them right. Wonder why.
I think I just worked once in a company where design was absolutely not prioritized. And you know, but I worked. I worked many years at Crunchyroll, for example, where I think that was the best experience, where it was uh, it was like product driven, but product, I mean, with like not specifically by the department of product, but product, and we all care and deliver that product together. So design matters, engineering matters, backend matters, marketing matters. Like everyone has the
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was like part of a recent greenfield project, and we had like a beautifully working backend, beautifully looking front end, And then we rolled the thing out in production, and the users started complaining that for some reason they can't do XYZ operation. And we started debugging, looking into logs, started spending a bunch of time into the engineering. What could be the engineering flaw? What could be the mistake on the engineering side? And turns out they misinterpreted the design. They thought the product works in a certain way
Mm-hmm.
when it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, they kind of tricked us as well into looking into the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to say that design is crucial. And when beautifully embracing, uh, let's say, engineering concepts, you cannot say, but this is an amazing product. And the other way around, when you have a beautiful UI, but you have like, I don't know, it's so hard to get it right, in my opinion, because you kind of need to balance things really really well. You need to have things beautiful but not too fancy. You need to have,
Yeah.
let's say, some kind of, I don't know, notifications, pop-ups and whatnot, but don't overdo it, because then it's becoming annoying and then it's too much noise.
Yeah.
Like when you look at a product you think is good enough or you admire, what's that balance that sets it apart? Like, it does really well on UI. It's giving me the usability, but I'm also enjoying using it from like strictly UI UX perspective. At the same time, it's not overdoing it. Like, what's your example of the product you usually follow? Like, because people usually have this. I want to do this as, I don't know, Jira does it, as this other
Mm-hmm.
product does it.
I think over the years, I prefer having a product that works
Yeah,
uh, and looks ugly, or maybe not pixel perfect,
yeah, yeah.
or not having all the same components. I mean, like a pattern, everywhere. So I would, for me, it's important that something is working, um, and that the content. When I say content, it's about like the text, right? Because when you sometimes enter a application or a website, then you should grasp in a second, like what is that thing about now, and text is usually there, or images. So the text image needs to work, um and yeah, the experience should be prioritized, rather than like now super fancy
What's your
animations.
example of a product you think deals really well with both user experience as well as user interface, and you kind of follow that? Because all of us have some kind of let's put it idol slash example we follow in our own niche. Like, engineers follow, I don't know, Google, Amazon, whatever practices. Front end engineers follow, I don't know, big company names that do things a certain way, and it's just the proper way to do it.
Hmm.
What's the dogma for, let's call it, design?
Well, I'm not sure if I can find something now, like my dogma, like this is how we should be, because it depends always of the context.
Yeah, but when you, let's say, when you try to design a brand new product, right? If it's something you've done in the past, you're probably going to combine slash try and steal some new ideas from some other product. If it's something brand new which you haven't done
Yeah,
before,
yeah, but it
most likely you're going to try to steal as much
mhm.
as you can, because you're not familiar with the industry, with the context, let's say.
Yeah, but it still depends on the context. For example, if I'm designing something now, let's take Crunchyroll as an example. Yeah. So when I was working on the video player, um, improving the video experience, of course you are looking at Netflix. Of
Yeah.
course you are looking at YouTube, maybe, or everywhere where is a video streaming platform. You are analyzing what is good, what is bad, and you are maybe taking certain ideas from different platforms and trying to analyze, okay, what is I
What
don't
makes
know,
sense for
like
this product?
what makes sense for
Yeah.
the product. The same goes as well for e-commerce, because I was doing a lot of things in the past in e-commerce, and e-commerce doesn't necessarily I need to know now a bunch of e-commerce sites, but if I'm designing, for example, a new filter experience or search experience, right, then I'm It might be not necessary. I'm watching at Amazon, but it can be anything where search is the main power feature. I'm analyzing what are the search best practices, right? And then I'm like maybe combining, analyzing what could work for me. So that's why I'm like not having like the North Star. That is like the. It depends. It depends of the industry, um, what I'm looking for, and then I'm like putting myself. Okay, I'm designing now an e-commerce for da da da. Let's. We have to be like Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know a lot of, especially on the front end side, I know people complain a lot about this, that some kind of product gets pushed and shoved down their throat way too much. Like any chance they get, they say we should do it like this. We should always do it like this, like this. Let's do the animations like this, and you end up with a product which looks and feels exactly like another product. Question is, why the fuck did you do that product in the first place? Is it unique?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it providing? I guess it provides what it should provide, but after all, people subscribe to whatever suits their needs, as well as somewhat feels unique in a way, in experience as well. So yeah, that's interesting. I was curious if you guys have any sort of thing like
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe there are some people would. I don't have it, so that's why.
What about design trends? Like, what was it? Flood design slash material design. Like there used to be these two battles between the trends.
Yeah, trends. Well, trends are coming and going. You know.
What's your? Let me maybe ask the question differently. What's the current trend in design? You see it a lot on scale, and you kind of hate it because it's too popular for the wrong reasons.
I think this liquid glass topic.
I fucking hate it.
I
And I
it
didn't
it
want to update the fucking iPhone.
it
They
looks,
pushed me.
you know, it looks nice in static. It
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
nice in, you know, when you see this Apple spots, you know, like transparent, blurry. It looks nice, but
yeah.
when you actually use it, and there are some couple of apps with it's not useful, and then there is a lot of.
I'm still confused, like
Mhm.
how much computational power goes on just fucking rendering the Gaussian filter,
Yeah,
because it's a Gaussian
yeah, yeah,
filter
yeah, yeah.
behind the scenes. Actually,
It yes, it looks nice in a static way, but interacting
it
with
depends
it.
who you ask. Like a lot, I personally don't like. I really like the old design. It looked way better, and it felt much faster. Like I'd rather prioritize speed over fanciness, which looks sluggish. Like that's like when you use something which looks sluggish, but not because your device is not supporting or is not up to speed, but because for some reason it just ends up like displaying a glitch of sorts.
Yeah.
You immediately don't like the product.
Yeah, it looks like a mistake,
It
you
looks
know?
like a mistake,
Yes.
like a weakness in
Yes.
the. You almost wanna bash the company for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Apple when I say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. um, there has to be a degree of creativity when it comes to designing stuff, right? Because you're an artist after all. Um, the problem with that is somebody has to implement what you're designing. So, how often is the case that your designs come back to you with either questions or either, let's say, a big pushback saying this is not possible to do because XYZ?
It's good that I get questions.
Yeah.
It's good that I get questions. And if I would not get questions, then there is a problem, you know? Um, I so having that great experience at Crunchyroll where I would say designers and engineers were really best friends. Um, we introduced something like I even don't know the name, but we had a meeting or a gathering where designers present work in progress on what we are working on, and presenting it not in a way of like, hey, this is what we are going to do, but we are asking engineers specifically, hey, this is our plan.
Yeah.
Is it doable to implement? Because we know there might be some, I don't know, backend is not ready or something is not maybe not possible, or explaining a concept. But it was never about like some fancy animation. I mean, I'm not talking about this type of design. It was more about like, is it technical feasible to implement that? And respecting as well engineers time of like, hey, we have, for this feature we want to develop this user experience, and it will look approximative in that way, or it will work in that way. Is it possible to implement, right? Because we knew that there are some deadlines, there are some thousands other priorities. And so it was always like a giving and receiving. um, so we were as well, so engineers were providing us feedback before we kind of invest a lot of time in like designing the whole flows. And it was as well vice versa, so engineers were implementing it,
Yeah.
and we were as well reviewing if it's implemented in the way how we intended. And if, for example, there is an interaction, like micro interactions, because we were also taking care of that. We had a separated a designer which was specialized into these micro interactions, which were where we as well asked upfront, hey guys, do you need animated prototype to see how certain things are opening, moving down, closing, and so on, so that we also know, do we need an additional task for this guy to kind of prepare this interaction, so engineers as well know how to implement it. This is how it should be.
This
This
is
is
a
how it should be.
beautiful way to do it, I would say, because you're not, as you said, you're not wasting people's time.
Yeah.
You get validation immediately,
Yeah.
and you don't push ideas. Instead, you make sure they're feasible or not.
And what you also learn as a designer is understanding how engineers are actually working, how they're implementing something, why they struggle to implement it, why they can't do that,
Yeah.
so that you also you learn as well of like, next time, okay, that doesn't work because of A, B, C, D. Even though engineers are always saying everything is possible, but the
Yeah.
reality is not, because time constraints and
No, that
deadlines. But
I definitely get that feeling burning.
you need to discuss. You need to engineers need to understand why you sometimes need to have it in that way and not the other way. Why it's important. It's not a fancy design request, but it's like really important. Okay, then maybe let's not implement this. If it takes time, then let's implement that, because that, so it's about negotiation, understanding each other, how certain things.
When working with engineers, can they be annoying?
Yes. The same as
What
designers.
what pisses you off the most when working with engineers?
That they are not asking questions. I mean, I don't understand those type of engineers which get designs handovered
Yeah.
in a certain way and then just have no questions. But it depends what got handover to you. So that's one thing, like not having questions.
Is it annoying because they have questions afterwards?
Yeah, because they have questions afterwards. They're implementing some shit.
Yeah.
I'm reviewing it. I'm
And you're like, why the fuck does it work
like,
this
why
way?
the fuck,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand this weird relationship that engineers might not have questions to designers, because it depends also in what type of environment you work, right? So if you never had designers and you are just that executor guy, which just has to deliver something because he has to deliver something. But that's not okay. That's really not how it's supposed to be. If an engineer, for example, gets design handovered, where is no documentation, where is not described, where there was never a walkthrough, what is the design about?
Yeah.
And you guy have no questions,
I
That's
don't understand how can you not have questions
yeah. I mean,
because
but I experienced that there are a
yeah,
lot
but
of
what
guys which are like developers which are really just implementing what they see in Figma or what they
yeah, but
see.
about Figma, like when you, it's not even about like the front end UI perspective, it's even the back end. Like how can you not have questions because you have these backlog refinements and whatnot, where you try to, let's say, uh, get some work prepared for the future sprint, right? And when you do that, typically you analyze some design. You say we need to work on this feature, and this is what needs to be done. And then based on that, you try to give like some kind of a rough estimation. So how can you estimate what something will take when you don't fully understand how it
I
will
don't get it.
work?
Yeah, I also don't understand
Yeah,
this. I
like
really
I don't
don't
understand
understand.
that concept, to be honest.
I also can't estimate my work because designers also estimate the work if I don't get a story, a concept of like what needs to be done for whom, why, like like I don't get it. Yeah.
How do you do your own research before designing something? Because you don't just, as you said, you don't just make stuff beautiful. You probably need to know stuff about your target audience. You need to know what's the experience going to be like. You need to know how the UI should look like, what kind of colors you want to choose, things like that.
Yeah, so it depends. Let's take e-commerce as an example. Every e-commerce in this world has the same structure. You have a homepage, you have a product listing page, you have a product detail page, and you have a shopping cart most of the time. And that's basically these are the main pages. You have maybe search, you have filterings, you have sortings, and but all the other elements like the way how you can shop. Sometimes there's like shop by certain I don't know, maybe the main feature of this site is like shopping by a delivery type or shopping by delivery speed. And if these are the main main features which influence your navigation, then you have to think about how you make this experience based on this delivery speed, for example, how you make that present in your experience, in your user journey, right? So there you are really thinking about the flows. Yes, you are researching how other platforms are doing something. You're reviewing how other e-commerce sites are resolving a similar issue. Um, yeah, so before I do something in Figma,
Yeah.
I'm really analyzing a lot, researching a lot, creating flows, thinking about the flow, talking to project managers if they, uh, if there are some certain ideas, like is backend ready? Like if I have some ideas which are dependent on the backend, for example, is that ready? Is that not ready? So I can kill already the idea or not. So there's a lot of ideation at the beginning before I even start to do some visible UI work.
Like when it comes to products, let's say it's a product you build from scratch, design from scratch, is it important that it has like a brand book of sorts where you have,
Well, the thing is, who is responsible then for creating the UI? Is it me? I have to,
yeah,
like, if there is no UI ready yet, then it needs to be defined. Okay, who will create this UI? Is it as well me? Then, then we are talking about like timelines. Like what's first? What do we do first? Like what do we prioritize first? Yeah.
you mentioned this idea of timelines, estimating work. I'm wondering, are designers pressured to deliver designs, or are they comfortable to do them? Like, how tight are your deadlines usually?
I think in majority of the companies, design is always excluded of estimating their work. Um, they are, for example, not part of any sprint planning,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are not estimating in points or whatever type of estimation you are using. Design should be delivered on a specific date. Designers usually just get communicated that engineering will start in March 26th.
Yeah.
We need to be done before that. But what does it mean being done before that?
It should
Like,
have been done yesterday.
so engineering time is always getting kind of estimated, but how you can estimate engineering time, I mean, when to start, if you never have seen the design? Like how engineers should start if they never see what have
Yeah,
been delivered?
and the
Like,
funny part is what ends up happening is you're being rushed to do the design. It doesn't, and you're being told because engineering is going to start working on it on this date, and then you don't get enough time to go back and forth before it gets to the engineering team.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this is it should not work like that. Yes, there should be some kind of like milestones when we should start something. But if you work in the constellation design, and if there are designers and there are engineers, it should always go design first, definitely, never in parallel. Yes, it happens also that people are working parallel, but ideally design should start first. And designers also estimate their work.
It never works like that. Usually, I'm seeing this in practice. Usually, you have like a designer. They did the initial design, which was like the huge amount of work, and then they're on support, right? They're doing small things or bigger things, but the thing is, sometimes you start discussing a feature with the engineering team before you even have a design of how that looks like, and you even start implementing and tinkering with it. And then when the design arrives, you realize there's one additional or more additional things you need to add or remove because the design looks different.
That's also fine. But then this conversation, so if engineers are talking about a certain feature which needs to be implemented without knowing how the design is, let's take search as an example,
Yeah.
right? Search, so what do you have? You have search as a component, right? But search, so what do we want to have in search? Do we want to have recent searches? Do we want to have search results, search suggestions? Right? These are elements of the search which not every search feature has, but these are things which we can talk about without thinking about the UI.
True.
And
True.
in this conversation, designers needs to be there because then we know, okay, cool, we will have search suggestions. Then I need to think about that in my design because it's not just about a drop down with recommendations, but like how many we want to show. It's a backend question, it's a front end question. So there are a lot of things which we can discuss without seeing the UI, but we all need to be at the same page.
What about the logistics when it comes to like especially when you're doing like a design from scratch? Do you guys get to be at the same table with the client, or you have like some kind of intermediary which talks to the client? The client tells them what they need in terms of business features. They come to you and then they say, we need this and that, and then you design it, versus you hear it from the source and you actually see that the client wants this and that, and then you design it and then go back to the manager, who's like the layer between you and the manager and the client, and then the layer between the client and the engineers as well. Is it like, are you participating with the client in a lot of meetings?
Yeah, usually yes. I mean, it depends where you work and how is your team structure, but I usually fight for this to be in that meeting because if you have then other three layers which get then at the end to me, it's you lost already the important information. And
Because then you have layers, then you do what the manager interpreted the client wants,
exactly, yeah,
and then you do the design, and then the design goes back to manager presents it to the client says he doesn't like it.
yeah. So
It's just a broken phone communication.
exactly. It depends. It depends of the team structure and who is maybe your product or project manager, how you trust them, and how you think they might be a skilled understanding as well from a design perspective of like what information are actually important for me. So it depends. But usually I want to be in those type of meetings so that I don't miss any information.
Yeah, I tend to not want to be there because
Even if I don't like to have so many meetings, I understand.
yeah,
But
because that's my problem with being in. I guess it's fun, but the problem with being there is you have a lot of raw information which comes directly from the client, and the client is like thinking out loud, so to speak, and it's not final, it's not decided. I'd rather, as an engineer at least, I'd rather deal with digested information. Here's what needs to be done. Is it possible or not? And then like, okay, it's possible here, it's not possible there, we should discuss this here. And then I present solutions and options. Whereas if you participate with the client as an engineer, again, as a designer, it's, I would say, crucial, but as an engineer, I would rather deal with digested information. Here's what needs to be done. You don't need to waste your time being in the meetings. I guess you can be in the meetings when you, I don't know, deploy something to production and you need to be on support, on call, and whatnot. But aside from that, I think you should try to use your time wisely,
yeah,
because as you said, meetings can be a nightmare.
yeah. I mean, it really depends. If project manager or the person who has the direct contact to the client is a person which understands what I am doing, what I need to know, then I don't necessarily need to be there. But if I have doubts that this person is just really, a middleman and just, writing down whatever without any further questions, which might be important for me, then yeah, I would like to be in that meeting.
Aside from asking questions, what are some of the mistakes engineers make when it comes to implementing designs?
Well,
Like, you almost immediately know that this is gonna come as a fucking question to me, not at the right time, but way later when I'm already done with the design. And at that point, you're like, let me maybe do a heads up so that they don't make this mistake when they start implementing it.
I don't know.
I mean, in that case, I guess you're dealing with very talented engineers. No mistakes, I guess.
No, of course there are mistakes, but like like just recent interaction with engineers, it's just like really not reading the documentation, which it's not documentation for me as a designer, it's really documentation for the engineers how to implement certain
You
things.
guys have documentation on designs?
Yeah, of course.
What's the documentation look like? Is it like a document or?
No, it's so for example, if you design a flow,
Yeah.
then it describes as well under the flow like what's happening there. So if it's a diagram flow, it can be a diagram flow, but if it's like screens UI wise, then you explain as well certain interactions,
Like
right?
the steps, from step 1 you go to step 2 and this is how it looks like. And
For example,
yeah,
but you also explain what's happening on the screen. If, for example, I don't have time to animate something to show how something should appear, then I'm explaining it in words, but in engineering terms, right?
Interesting. I don't think I've seen that in many places,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like, most I've seen is Figma designs, and sometimes they show like, this is step 1, this is step 2, and they kind of try to show the flow. But a lot of the time they don't even do that. And yeah, I guess I kind of understand how it looks like, and I, as a backend engineer, I kind of understand what kind of logic I should build around this, what the front end should kind of do. But yeah, it can be confusing, and I guess a little bit of Q&A can solve. But if you have documentation, you can even eliminate Q&A.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why engineers don't ask questions. You have too good of a documentation.
Yeah.
We touched a little bit on design trends,
Mm-hmm.
and I was wondering, are you a big trend chaser, or are you more of a minimalist? Do you like minimalism in general?
I don't want to call myself minimalist, but yeah, I prefer clarity rather than noise and big tom tom and 50 shades of everything.
Yeah.
So I prefer something straightforward to the point.
Because there's designs out there which is kind of like Apple,
Mm-hmm.
which can be fancy and annoying at the same time. It can be fancy because it kind of looks extremely clean and minimalistic. And if you need extra options, they're hidden through
Yeah,
some
yeah.
kind of a free dots,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of an options, settings, and whatnot. And it's easy to find them most of the times. But sometimes it's not easy to find it. And that's when frustration comes in. And you feel like extremely stupid when you have to Google how to do something on your phone when you've been doing it for years on your Android, right? And yeah, the problem with that is I love minimalism when it's done in a intuitive way. So you almost immediately know, either you follow some kind of industry standards, people know that three dots represents options, or that when you have like a fucking empty screen, you click on it, immediately some kind of grid appears, like on a, I don't know, photo viewing app,
Yeah.
some kind of options appear. Like people have that intuitive thought almost.
Yeah. There
But
is
when you
a. Mhm.
introduce like a new concept and you
Yeah.
expect people to fucking do it that way,
Yeah.
that's when my frustration comes in.
Yeah. There are certain patterns which are already trained. You know when you see an image, then something else will extend and you can see detailed description. I'm searching now for the name from Instagram. There is this second app,
Threads?
Threads.
Yeah. I think it's Threads. It's like the competitor for Twitter, X?
Is it Threads? I think it's Threads.
Yeah, I
They
think.
have a very, very stupid behavior on. So you are going into a. So you are on Instagram and there are those threads, I think,
Yeah.
but they are redirecting you to that other app.
Yeah. And then you have to click in, log in,
No, no, no,
or
no.
what?
The experience is similar. You see images, you see text, and I see that image, but I want to see the comments.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing, I'm tapping on that image and
Yeah.
expect that I see the image plus the content below that. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I don't know what I have to do. I have to select some specific area to see the comments. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's, I guess when it
Is it
comes to design in particular, you can be creative, which can be rewarding, but you can also get all the hate because you're trying something new, something people aren't experienced with, not accommodated with. They probably don't like it. And yeah, it's hard to push innovation in that way. And when I look like at Telegram in particular, I see Telegram does a feature. They do it extremely well, extremely strategic. And then some time passes, and then you see adoption on WhatsApp,
Mm-hmm.
adoption on Messenger, on all the messaging apps, which speaks volumes about, like, when you push innovation, you have to be really simple,
Yeah.
minimalistic, innovative, at the same time be extremely cautious of not pissing off your users. And it's easy to do that, especially if you're like a big company, but at the same time, if you hold a monopoly like Apple, you don't give a shit. You're like, they're gonna suck it, we're gonna do glass design and whatnot. We own the monopoly anyway, so yeah, they're gonna buy the new iPhone and we'll push the next iOS version and whatnot. I tell this everyone, I guess. It's too little time and too much to talk about. But I'd prefer to dive into a more interesting topic, because we talked earlier about the fact that designers sometimes are kind of isolated from the rest of the team, the rest of the people. I was wondering, is company culture a real thing, or it's more like marketing and HR bullshit? Is that practiced? Like, are companies practicing what they're preaching, or you go pass on an interview, everyone's nice, people are welcoming, and then you join the company, you join the project, and then everything is shit?
Okay, so speaking about company culture, uh, I do believe company culture is a thing.
Yeah.
It's so company culture is not a slogan, or it's not like um, perks. Company culture is not Friday pizza, you know? That's not company
Free
culture.
coffee.
Free coffee, free water.
Yeah.
Company culture is like the everyday interaction which you have in the office. And I think company culture starts from the leadership, which should um, share the culture, the values with your team, with the employees. And the employees are basically the builder inside their teams, uh, based on the values which the company is bringing to the table. The thing is with the interviews, um, it's very, very, very difficult, and I think a bit. I don't know, a bit. I mean, I'm not an expert in that, but for me, it's a bit difficult to find out from an interview process what is the culture inside. I mean, if you are having an interview with a person which you don't match,
Yeah, that's the problem.
you
Like
know, like
for you to find out what's on the surface, what are
it's
the values,
difficult.
you should put them in a little bit of an uncomfortable
Exactly,
position.
but then you are
But then you're
perceived.
discarded as
Exactly,
not a match.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very tricky. From my perspective, you just really understand what's going inside the company once you are inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you have a bit this gut feeling that, that guy. So it depends how many interview processes you have,
Are you
interview
reading
steps you have.
are you reading Glassdoor reviews?
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, if I want to, if I'm in the process of like almost getting hired there, then yeah, of course, I'm reading all social media, Reddit, Glassdoor, everything to kind of figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
I think I just went once so far to kind of write former employees
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
kind of figure out like, hey, or employees.
I've been written about that way too many times. Like engineers texting me, "Hey, I've seen you've been part of this
Yeah.
company.
And I
How is it
think that's
there?"
good.
Yeah.
That's okay. That this is how, because you just want to make sure that you are committing to a place where it's nice, where it's suitable for you. So yeah, company culture is a thing,
Are
but
you a firm believer in we are a family type
no,
of deal?
no, 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 no.
Yeah, like every single time I read emails, messaging, especially when everybody's welcoming you in the team, and then immediately after that, a week after, they just throw you in a pool of cold water, which is the project you're going to be working on.
I mean, if you claim that, or if you are saying that we are a family, then you have to treat me also like a family, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, so no, but I don't believe in those things. I mean, work and family are something different.
Yeah, it's a bit funny how company culture works, because you might have the nicest department in the team, sorry, in the company, and the overall company is shit, but there's one department which is really positive, impactful and whatnot, and they keep it really nice. And it can be the other way around. You can have the entire company pushing extremely nice values and whatnot. You hear a lot of good reviews and whatnot, but then there's one department which is toxic. So it's a bit hard to evaluate. As you said, you have to kind of be in the company to figure out things, to see where they're going to place you and whatnot. And then you kind of figure out, okay, this company has these values which aligns with me, or no, I will not stay here for any longer because it's kind of toxic, right? Speaking of toxic, what's something you consider toxic and what are some red flags?
Toxic is for me if, I mean, I recently experienced that, so it's kind of fresh. But toxic environment or toxic workplace is for everyone different, right? So what might be toxic for me might be for someone else not toxic or not relevant or not important.
Yeah.
But for me, is it that I'm valued in a company, that my job, my position, my place, my role, me as a person, I'm valued. Yeah, I'm being valued. And if leadership directly communicates to me that we actually don't need you here, or your position or your role or your department is not priority, that makes something with you, that makes you feel, yeah, that makes something with you, that makes you feel bad, that
Yeah.
you are not welcomed here, you are not valued here, you are not important here, you're not a priority here. So whatever I will ask is always deprioritized. So there is like no chance
Yeah,
for
but
me
wasn't the
to.
hiring process the priority in the first place?
Yes, exactly. And that's the
Yeah.
confusion, you know?
Yeah, that's funny because you hire somebody out of lack of labor, right? You don't have enough people,
Hmm.
you're short on people. So you decide to hire more people. But then how can you tell those people that they're not relevant slash important
Yeah.
slash not a place in the company? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, at least. Like, when I'm hiring somebody, it means I'm in need. Like, I really need people helping on this project, right? If they don't align with how I want them to perform, that's a whole different story. But telling them that they're not, like, I don't understand that concept, actually. It just doesn't make sense to me, because if I was management, whether I'm some middleman and whatnot, or I'm like the top management, the guy who's in charge of making sure the company survives, is successful, then I want people kind of embracing the same mission, vision I have. Obviously, I'm going to be the visionary, but I want people to be on the same page, at least when it comes to deliverables, right? And if somebody was hired because we needed them, then we needed them. And it's not like we just hire because it's popular to hire, we just want to spend some money.
For me, this topic is a bit, um, yeah, it's a bit tricky. How much I can share and say.
No, that's fine. I don't expect. I mean, it's a place where things are kind of raw, and the reason I say kind of is because not everyone feels comfortable sharing them, and that's perfectly fine. Uh, but at the same time, if you feel like you can, maybe maybe we should switch wines and whatnot, and and try and talk about it. But yeah, it's interesting, and as you said, like, to each their own when it comes to that. But I don't I don't imagine myself trying to, bring my contribution to the company that hired me, and then they tell me that, like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess one reaction that I would take is not give a shit. Like, okay, I'm
Um,
being paid for that.
yeah,
Your loss.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
I was on that path of like, okay, fuck it, I'm getting salary for doing nothing,
precisely. Yeah,
and but then I'm not like that. I mean, I cannot. I want to work somewhere where I'm creating an impact, where I'm giving value, where I'm and it's not just about that, it's about like I'm losing my time of learning something. I mean, I spent in a place where I didn't feel very well, uh more than 3 years, I think. And I exit there without any additional knowledge. And this is bad. It's very, very bad for me.
yeah. As they say, you either should learn or earn.
Yes, I could continue staying there and till the last drop, but I decided not to stay. Yeah, because I wanted to work on projects that I can influence, that I can have an impact, that I can give my knowledge, where I'm valued, where people need me. This is like somebody needs me. I want to work somewhere where somebody needs my expertise, and that was the reason why I left that place where I was not welcomed or needed or appreciated, valued, and so on.
Do you think all companies require, not that require, but expect you to learn something out of the process? Or let's just put it this way: do you, when you join a company, uh, do you, I don't know how, what's like the percentage of stuff you're expecting to learn versus the stuff that you've done in the past? Most likely you're going to repeat the same thing. Most likely it's going to be boring work, stuff you've done. Because that's what I at least noticed with my experience, right? At some point, you kind of catch up with all the trends, all the knowledge, all the things that you're supposed to do, right? And then there's less and less to learn. Of course, there's always stuff to learn, but there's less of this. And when it comes to design, it's, I would say, even more subjective because it's how you see art, right? Art is beautiful to each their own. Like how much stuff you're expecting to learn when you join a company versus stuff that you just know it's going to be the same.
Well, it depends what type of company I'm joining. So if I'm joining an outsourcing company where I'm having every 6 months, let's say, a new project, which is different from another one. I mean, a different industry. Like one day it's banking, another one is e-commerce.
Yeah.
Then it's cool. I'm learning something new. But it depends also of the designer. If a designer wants that jumping from one industry to another, learning like constantly new industries, or you want to be a bit in your safe zone and grow a bit in your expertise in a specific field. Um, but you also learn about new processes in that specific company because each company is delivering in a different mode.
Do you like startups more, or let's say outsource companies that allow you to iterate through projects slash contexts, or you like more established type of companies where you have a huge product and you only focus on that product and that's your entire life basically?
So before Crunchyroll,
Yeah.
I always worked in this agency mode. So all the time, a different project, different client, different ideas, and so on. And I liked that because it was always, changing, and you are learning actually a lot in this changing the industry or changing the project. When we got acquired by Elation in the past slash Crunchyroll,
It has been
I
so many acquirements.
yeah, I was like, oh my God, it will be so boring working just on one product. Oh my God, what should I do there? No, I will never go back to outsourcing, to this agency model. I I found I did that after
Yeah.
Crunchyroll. I joined Endava, and Endava is an outsourcing company where you have different type of projects, and it's not for me. It's not for me. I don't know. I understood that my destiny is product oriented company. I want to work on one product, improving that, growing with that, living with that, working on that.
Yeah, I guess you don't fully get to see a product graduate. In other words, uh, if you have like 6 months at most when it comes to working on a product,
Yeah,
that's the most you'll get out of a product.
exactly.
And most likely you'll see the same exact phases. You'll see the initial phase, you'll
Yeah.
see some back and forth, and then you're going to deliver it and hand it over to somebody else.
You have less ownership on. I think ownership is something what I value, and you don't own the product when you. I mean, it depends, of course, of the client and the project itself, but there is less ownership. It's more of execution, and I don't
Yeah,
like
that's the
that.
problem
You
I see
know,
with Moldova.
I don't like that.
Is typically when people from the West, in particular, look for hirings, they tend to look in Eastern Europe, right? Because of cheap labor.
Yeah.
And they come across Europe and then Eastern Europe, and then they'll tend to come across Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, the Eastern Europe countries, which where labor is cheaper, right? And they come to Moldova, they have an idea, they want to build it fast for cheap. They do so, then they get a product, and then, as you said, the ownership goes back to, now I'm gonna find a local team of Germans, a local team of Swiss, and whatnot,
Consultants.
consultants and whatnot, and they're gonna keep maintaining the product.
Yeah.
But I had the Moldovan team, they built it really fast. Now fuck off, build another project really fast, And you don't have that many product companies. And I was lucky enough to also join like Crunchyroll and whatnot, where I got to see a product that's mature enough at the same time that keeps on growing, and you don't get to see this process often enough, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're part of the outsource world, and you're kind of always in between when you're doing outsource. You always begin something, you slightly get attached to that product, you want to improve it and whatnot, and then you have to hand it off and fuck off and move on to the next project. It's fun, but I don't know, like I don't like, it's like you walk the treadmill, it's
Yeah.
the same exact thing. And then the question is, as an engineer as well as a designer, for how long can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you do it for 5 years? Cool, you get some money, have some savings and whatnot, but then for how long are you going to keep on doing that, before your passion runs out, before your energy runs out, and then you're doing it for money basically?
Yeah, I have an issue with that. It has a starting date and an end date. A product has never a start and an end date,
Well,
It's
it
like,
kind of has.
yeah,
The
but
way I look at products from a, let's say, entrepreneurial
mm-hmm.
mindset is, at some point, every product, every company dies. Whether it dies because of stupid mistakes and really bad planning, or it is acquired, which means it morphs into a bigger thing and no longer is the same thing, but eventually it dies. So, but yeah, it's true what you're saying. Like, that product doesn't finish, right? It just,
yeah,
you're just not the one
yeah,
owning it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You are in an outsourcing company. You are most probably not the one who takes care
The
after
other
you
problem
just
with
deliver.
you not owning it, you
Mm-hmm.
don't invest in quality.
Exactly.
Like, why would you invest in quality when your incentive is finish? If you finish faster, you get paid faster.
Yes,
You do it like
that's a
that,
huge, huge,
hand
huge
it
problem.
over, and pick up the next thing. And it's a good thing for the management because they get to have their revenue bigger. But it's a bad thing for whoever's going to inherit that product.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, it's very interesting what you are saying and very important. And I don't have any solutions how to make this type of outsourcing companies, which are just hired for like 3 months to deliver something. I mean, to deliver what was agreed in um, in a bad quality majority of the time. Uh, like, why you as a company uh, deliver just? I mean, why you don't take care of the quality? Because at the end, maybe that the client might recommend you further, right? I mean, like the recommendation
I don't
system.
think that's how logistics work.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Because what happens
how
is,
we can switch that,
yeah,
like
like
how we
logistically
can.
speaking, you have the pocket, aka the client, and then you have some kind of, the client might have somebody from their side, right? Like some kind of a middleman slash technical type of guy, or they might not have it at all. They might just, okay, I'm looking for IT companies for cheap, like the cheapest I can get. They find them on Moldovan market, they approach them, they build some product, they validate the product, the market, they get some money, some funding from Germany and whatnot, and then product is online, and then they get some investment, and then I don't know, there's even criteria for investment where they get told you need to have a team locally in Germany, and you need to have employees here and whatnot, and then the product kind of moves to Germany, to whatever the country of the client is, right? And then what happens is, why would you spend time, like if you were an agency, right? If you opened your own agency, right? Why would you spend the time that you're not paid for?
No,
Yes, you can get.
your time is paid, but
No, what I
deliver.
meant, what I
Mhm.
meant is, if you strive for quality, it's gonna take you around 2 to 3 more amount of time that you would have spent if you did it in a shitty way, which does the job. Like, take design for instance. You mentioned this idea of documentation, right?
Yeah,
How much time does documentation add up to the entire design?
not much because you are designing and thinking as well about like what are you doing there. So you're just like
I would
framing it
suppose
in
it's at least 10 to 15% on top.
maybe, but that's already calculated in your time
That's,
of what
yeah,
you are
but you
designing
could you
because it also belongs to design, you know?
you could choose not to put it in, or you could do it even more smart. You could put it in but not do it. And then
Me.
then
No,
you
no,
can
I'm not talking.
oversell.
No, I'm not talking to this type of people.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
like,
yeah,
it's
I understand
it's
what
a
you
lot
mean.
of
Um,
like, at the end of the day, you sign a contract, you bring some deliverables, then you get paid, and then you move on.
and that's the sad part.
And yeah, the sad part about, let's say, creative work, because software is also creative work. Like,
Yes,
yes, we're writing logic and whatnot, but it's
it's
creative in many
creative. Yes.
ways. It's like poetry in a way. And like, when you experience the industrialization of, like, this is the process we live in, like, with AI and whatnot, uh with clients, managers, everybody expecting you to deliver fast, cut corners, and try to meet demands. You kind of are pushed into this machine of industrialization, pipelines, processes, and you either end up in the process or not, or somebody else will do it for you because of the job security and whatnot, right? So yeah, it's kind of crazy that there used to be times when this was valued. Now maybe not as much. I would argue. What's your thoughts on the job market, since you've, because I mean, I've been doing contracting for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've been switching places back and forth, so it's not a new concept for me. But for a lot of people that, for example, work in one company for many years, they kind of dedicate their soul, passion, life, and whatnot. They make friends, they make even families. For them, leaving a company, it completely exposes them, and they kind of don't know what they're supposed to do out there in the wild. And the job market is kind of wild right now. A lot of layoffs, a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people looking for jobs. Clients expect you to to receive less but do more
Yeah,
because of AI and whatnot. So what's your thought on the job market, what's going on here? And
the job market is scary. I mean, I don't. I'm lucky, I think, not to look for a job or not being in that position.
yeah.
And I am a person which is looking for stability and having always a job, and not having a job would make me feel crazy. Um, I don't know. What should I say to
Yeah,
that?
I get that. I get that. No, it's crazy. I tried it myself. There's no more, like, there's no remorse for me at the moment, right? I go with my open chest. I know there's a lot of bullshit. I know there's people really looking for jobs, people that fake it, people that look for
But
the
I
lowest
believe
bidder.
there will be always somehow a job for someone. Yes, it might be now difficult because if you are a designer and you are looking for a design job and there are a bunch of layoffs happening, of course it's difficult to find now a design job if there are a lot of layoffs happening in that design world, as an example. So there is a lot of resources outside which are looking for the same job as you want to have. Yeah, of course it's scary, but there is always something what you will find. Yes, it will take maybe 3 months longer, 6 months longer, 1 year longer, but one day that will happen. And I think you need to be, even if it's very difficult. I mean, you are stressed when you are without a job, you have a family, you are a parent, you have to pay bills, right? So you are under pressure of like keeping you financially up. Of course, you don't think about like, okay, let's make a course of how to write a CV correctly or how
Yeah, when I see
to,
that bullshit online, it's like, why would you, when nobody fucking reads CVs? Like, let's be honest. Like, how many interviews I'll speak from my experience at least. A lot of interviews, you go in, you talk to some HR guy or girl, they ask for your CV, and they ask you a bunch of questions. Then you show up in the interview, somebody's interviewing you, and they end up reading your CV on spot.
yeah.
That's if you are lucky enough to be accepted. If you're rejected, nobody even reads your CV, nobody cares who you are, because they see Moldova, okay, Moldova, fuck off, I'm not interested, right? So like, do people even read CV? Like, why would you make a course on CV? Like, it's, I don't know.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I'm also back
I
in the,
think LinkedIn history, job history, overrides CVs.
yes,
Yeah.
but you also have to write your LinkedIn CV as well in a way that it's easy to understand in what you are good in, what you achieved in your
Yeah, if you
last job.
write software engineer on every single position, and like, okay, what are we looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of CVs, design CVs or front end engineers, which are just writing down, for example, their responsibilities. I did wireframes. You know, like they are treating CVs as a chronological history of like a checklist what they have been doing there, but that's not what a CV is about. And there are a lot of people which
Yeah,
are
you want to
still
stand out, I guess.
there are a lot of people which are still doing these mistakes, so and having those courses for how to write your CV or how to transform your CV into a more impactful or outcome letter is for some people needed and valuable, but they don't know about that because nobody was telling them that, hey, your CV sucks actually. Like I want to know what type of impact you can bring in our company if you want to get hired here, or yeah, when you will join the job here. So the need of these courses might be a bit
Yeah, I
stupid
never.
for some people, but there are a bunch of people which still really don't know how to write a CV.
Yeah, I never understood the concept, because I was like, in my mind, I was always of the opinion that instead of me trying to come up with the best CV that nobody reads, how about I work on myself and build a name for myself,
Yes, that's also important.
and not have the necessity of introducing myself on LinkedIn or anywhere.
Yeah, and I
Because
think
then you get approached. You don't need to approach companies. Companies approach you.
yeah, and I think this working on your name or working on yourself, on your branding, or how you want to call it, I think that's something new. It was not like 5 years ago. It was not a
Yeah, it's
thing,
thanks to the social media, thanks to all
exact
the,
social media, and
yeah,
as well I think all these layoffs made as well people, because there are so many of you, types of you,
yeah.
you want to stand out. And things like social media, stories, podcasts, like um, creating for yourself a name is an important.
I'm looking for a job.
I'm looking for a job.
Yeah, I am doing the podcast because I'm looking for a job. Just so you know, like,
No.
hire me.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
No, that's funny. Um, yeah, we mentioned layoffs, right? I'm wondering to what extent layoffs happen because of AI. And we've talked a lot about pretty much anything but AI. And I'm really
Yeah.
happy we haven't talked about AI because I'm really pissed off when people start shoving AI down my throat right
Yeah.
from the first 5 minutes of conversation. So, about AI, let's open the Pandora box.
Okay.
Mm, has AI affected the industry of UI, UX design? And in what sense? Is it negative, positive? Have people lost their jobs due to AI?
I'm not aware of any statistics related to the design industry. I do believe that there are layoffs happening. I'm not sure if it's due to AI. I don't know. I really don't know. But knowing what type of tools are out there which supposed to replace me, because that's the fear what a lot of people have, right? AI will
Not
replace me.
necessarily. Like to give you an example,
Mhm.
before you, like, let's say you're a client, right? You want a website or an app or whatever. Like how it used to be is you approach an IT company, the IT company hires a designers or they have a designer
Mhm.
already, then they give it back to the engineering team and then they go back and forth, they build it, they go to the client, here's what we built and whatnot. And now if you have an AI, maybe it has a little bit of context on how design should look like. Maybe it knows what beautiful in terms of the human standard looks like, and it cuts the cost of both the front end, both the designer. It's going to be mediocre, obviously, but it's going to be something.
Yes. Uh, I agree with you. Let's take Lovable as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lovable is fine for creating any website, any simple website that is a landing page. If you need a landing page, go take Lovable, create your prompt, write your prompt, and press the button publish and have your landing page. But if it's about a complex navigation structure where you need the understanding of how users navigate there, a Lovable like tool AI tools are not. I don't know. I didn't met any tool which could replace me judging if that flow is the right one for our user base.
Yeah, that's the problem. You raise a very interesting point. The point being is a lot of the people, especially when it comes to juniors, they like outsource so much routine to AI. Like, hey, build me this. Hey, do me that. I want a function which does this. I want, I don't know, what's your thoughts on this topic? What's your thoughts on how we should implement this? And blah, blah, blah. And it goes so beyond just routine tasks that they end up outsourcing the decision making, the critical thinking.
Yeah, and that's the
And
that
if
yeah.
you, like, your AI is good enough, like it has a knowledge base of a lot
Mhm.
of things, right?
Yeah.
You can give you recommendations, you can even give you stuff you haven't known, you weren't aware of, right? Which is a good thing. It's a good heads up in a way. But at the same time, you're dealing with, you're responsible for designing the experience of the future customers, right? And your AI doesn't know the customers
Exactly. So
unless you tell him.
exactly. And AI is good in delivering you options. You
Yeah.
can create 50 shades of variations of your landing page or whatever you want to have there. It's great. I can't do it physically, time wise. I can't do that. So AI is great. But I need now a human being judging which of these 50 shades of variations are is the right direction which we can pick up and then think on it, think about it, how we can develop this idea further. So these are just ideas. Yes, you can create a fully customized or designed pages in Lovable as an example, yeah, sure, you can do
Are
it.
you using any AI tools?
I'm using Lovable as an example of like sometimes just
Brainstorming?
generating some ideas. ChatGPT is like my everyday source.
Your
Mm,
psychologist?
my yes,
Yeah.
yes, my um, and there are some other platforms which I'm using, like They Do, which is helping me to create like user journey maps,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they have a feature, which an AI feature, which is like summarizing the screenshot which I added, for example, or something like that, or out of my bullet points, it generates me some text. So it's like summarizing text, right? It's the same like ChatGPT would do, but it's like an integrated AI feature inside the. And I'm experimenting here and there with some tools, but there, I never felt the threat that, oh my god, something can take my
I don't know.
could
Maybe
replace me. I don't know.
maybe there was an attempt from like the engineering team of trying to, I don't know, push some kind of automation pipeline for designing stuff, or not even designing but like automating bits of front end. And then you have front end people who are in charge of how this should look like, and as a result you get rid of designers. But I'm just
It,
trying to theorize and fantasize what could be the case here, because especially when it comes to like, if you take the art industry in general, let's say photography, um like photography for the most part I would say is kind of killing a lot of the people
mhm.
in the industry, right? Like you can have a shitty photo nowadays, you can put it in an app
Yeah.
and create all kinds of beautiful. You don't need to know Lightroom or Photoshop or all these fancy tools which people used to know and actually prioritize because people needed a photo shoot, people needed professional pictures and whatnot. Like you, if you wanted to, like if you're a restaurant, you want professional pictures, uh, probably still need it, but you can take mediocre pictures and enhance them with
Yeah.
some kind of AI tool. So in that sense, this part of the art industry kind of died in the sense that it was replacing people slowly. Like you still need people taking pictures, but you can have mediocre pictures
Yeah. Yeah.
and enhance them. I'm wondering to what extent that maybe affected the design industry, like the UI UX.
It doesn't affect in a negative way. It just provides me a bit speed. For example, on a recent project, I was looking for images that replace a certain empty state,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of icons, I wanted to use some um, real life pictures, which like a 3D objects. ChatGPT generated. I think it was just providing me.
Are people
Uh,
becoming, let's say, dumber because of less thinking, less research, less due diligence? Like back in the day, if you had to design something, you weren't able to consult yourself with AI tools, right? So when you're overdoing that, what ends up happening is your brain doesn't function, doesn't is not utilized as much. Are we getting dumber?
I am not sure. Maybe. uh, I think we are getting dumb if we really completely outsource the thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really just copy paste, if you really just copy paste a text or something one to one without reading it because you trust the result and you just, post it, write it somewhere. Uh, no, I mean, yeah. So you have to be careful. You have to
I think
keep your
it's,
critical thinking.
I don't know. I think it's only a matter of time until you have AI tools that are really good at because at the moment there's like a monopoly when it comes to photo, video, audio editing slash publishing slash in general, photo, video editing, and audio editing is kind of a mystical. It's still mystical to some extent. And these proprietary software, like the ones from Adobe, from Apple, from whatever, they still are proprietary, closed source. Like the moment they expose some kind of API, some kind of a way to interact with them via AI tools,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I would say the industry will kind of revolutionize, in a sense that people that use these tools and charge money for services in the process may lose their job, because now people have access to prompts and they can just write a bunch of text and do their work without the people in the middle getting money for it, which is what I'm thinking of, like maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, right? Because I'm seeing, like, I'm taking my own example, right? When it comes to video, obviously there's a bunch of services online which can automate your videos, do captions, do effects
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot, but they charge quite a lot and the result is still quite mediocre. But when you reach a point where you have like industry standards companies working together to I don't know, expose their products in a way that it can be interacted with through AI models,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when revolution happens, I would say. And that's when people who charge money for these services will kind of lose their jobs. But that's still in the future. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, the way I look at this is, yes, on the one hand, you have families that want to feed their kids, want to provide for themselves, want to have a job, in other words. On the other hand, you have sort of industrialization process where, yes, in the process people lose their jobs, but at the same time people will find themselves doing other jobs. uh, we still have to find out what those other jobs will be, because maybe we'll have more time to explore other industries and whatnot, where we can get to be more productive instead of focus on routine. Because a lot of, like, until the AI boom and whatnot, we've been focusing on a lot of routine. Like if you take engineering, when you write code, a lot of it is routine. A lot of it is the same exact shit, the same thing you've done 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do that. You probably don't want to spend the time doing that. And I would suppose this is going to be automated.
Yeah. I mean, same goes for like design work, where you don't need necessarily like your judgment. You can you can just delegate it to AI, like
I don't want to think.
summarizing.
Do it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Summarizing, I don't know, meeting notes or some reports or whatever. Just like really summarizing the thing, doing the job for you, and you just get it as a result. Your brain is not needed there, but like completely trusting, I don't know, a tool which completes your user journeys or your flows. You still need to look at this, you know. You cannot just simply copy paste that, you know. You still need to adjust it. You still need to work on it. Yes, it saved you maybe time, but completely blindly trusting it, it's not a thing.
I'm wondering how much of your job is actual product design versus marketing. Are you a part-time marketer?
I'm not sure. Am I a marketer?
Like, when it comes to designing a product, how much time you spend on, we're gonna make this thing look sellable,
Mm-hmm.
versus we're gonna make this thing look as real as it looks? Because my problem with a lot of, especially a lot of these SaaS products,
Mm-hmm.
where you get to, like, you open the landing page
Mm-hmm.
and then they show you what can be possible, what can be done. You're like, oh, I like this, I like that, I like that. And then you kind of walk through the landing page, through the journey. You see what is possible to be done with the tool, with the service and whatnot. And then you're like, okay, let me check the pricing. You're like, pricing is reasonable. Maybe I can get into it. You subscribe. Maybe it's a free month. Maybe it's not. It doesn't matter. Let's say it's not a free month. You pay a month or a week. It doesn't matter. And then you quickly realize that you've been sold some kind of a lie. Like it's been a lot of marketing
Yeah, that's the
behind that.
that's the scope of that landing page,
Yeah.
which is supposed to sell you. I mean, I don't want to say that it sells you lies, but it sells you maybe the essence, the real,
Yeah, but how much of product design is selling an idea versus selling an actual working functional product?
I'm not sure if all designers are working as well on that landing page plus the product itself.
Yeah.
Usually, these are like two different departments. Um,
There's somebody else to blame.
yeah. But if you are the person which is doing both, yeah, your scope of the landing page is to sell, right? It's to sell, not necessarily with the knowledge of like, okay, our product is actually shit, and let's put some
No, but
flowers.
there are a lot of these cases,
But yeah,
especially
there is,
especially if
yes,
you
of
take like
course.
Facebook ads. They like you'll be sold an extremely great idea, almost immediately buy it. Except you're not buying it, but you're like, okay, let me check the website. Let's see what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Check the website, you're kind of sold out, you kind of are compelled to buy the service or whatever. And then when you end up buying the
Yeah, of
service,
course. Yeah,
you almost feel the guilt within you, like
yeah.
I'm probably gonna buy some bullshit, but I
But
don't
but
know
also
yet.
that is user experience, right? So
Yeah.
you're creating the content to hook you, to keep you there, to sell you
That's my problem.
the
We live
sell
in
you the
this
idea that
hookup culture.
you need that now, and it's on sale, and it's just for 3 hours, for 30 minutes. There is
And
a
when you
lot
refresh the
of,
page, it
yeah.
restarts.
So there are
Yeah.
a lot of there is a lot of UX or psychology behind that, how to hook you, keep you there, and yeah, that's the scope of the whole landing page. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always, I'm like, I'm probably being lied to, but I'm still not sure where exactly, right? And you're like, okay, let me just like fuck it. I'll just like $5. What's five
Yeah,
five
yeah,
bucks,
exactly.
right? And you pay for it and you're like, what a waste of time.
Yeah,
Now I need to find a way to unlink my credit card,
yeah. I
to
had a lot of this type of
unsubscribe,
situations. Yeah.
email bullshit coming
These
over.
templates, when you
Yeah.
want to buy some templates or some, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. They're
Yeah.
good in this.
Yeah, it's not fun. Since I'm talking to a lady,
Yeah.
um, and I'm kind of representing the guys, I'm wondering, in your experience, have you experienced or are you of the opinion that there is a gender pay gap in the industry?
I think I am not the ideal person to talk about these gender topics,
Yeah.
because I somehow never had a problem being discriminated because I'm a woman, because I'm a girl, because I'm whatever. Um, I never was thinking about that before it became somehow a topic that women are being paid less than men for the same job or for the same title or for the same position. um, I was never asking myself this question. um, if there are so many reports somehow out there that there is this issue that women are getting paid less, I believe in that. I mean, probably there is an issue that women or people were figuring out that women are getting paid less. I was never experiencing that. I was never
Was it because
looking for that.
you always try your absolute best and competency is at the highest echelon?
I'm not thinking like that. I'm not thinking I'm competing with a man.
What I'm saying is, have you had cases when you work with multiple designers?
Yeah.
Did you or did your peers consider you the best in the team?
Yeah, I think so. I have,
Maybe that's why.
maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Because if you're not the best, then you start questioning yourself, comparing yourself. How am I in comparison to this person? Oh, is this person a female or a male? because the way I think about it is, let's suppose there is a gender pay gap, right?
Yeah.
Let's suppose women are paid less,
Yeah.
and that's a reality.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm an entrepreneur and I know women are paid less, I want to save money. Why the fuck would I hire men? They cost more.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the industries, predominantly, when you look at, especially at the IT industry,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
predominantly it's
Man.
run by men,
Mm-hmm.
and men work there. Is it because they're more competent, maybe? Is it because they choose it? Because if you study, for example, college and university attendance, it's primarily dominated by women. It- like to the most majority, it's dominated by women. Like even if you take the IT industry, a lot of women like might go into studying IT and whatnot, but they don't end up working in IT.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they do, then they go pick up something like project management or whatever. And I'm not saying that's not important. At the same time, they're not pursuing what's slightly harder, which is like engineering and whatnot, STEM in general. And yeah, you said you were never experiencing this, which is interesting. And I'm wondering, does it have to do with how competent you are, how dedicated you are? And do the complaints come from people that are less competent? And
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure because I'm not comparing myself to man woman.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking like that. I'm not thinking I'm not thinking in this man woman comparison. I'm thinking okay, if all my colleagues are male, um and I see somebody is like, okay, we're doing the same job, we have the same title, yeah, because
Yep.
that's usually how you maybe the salary base is created on the same role, and then you have your own negotiation
But have
ranges,
you,
right?
let me maybe sneakily ask it a different way. Have you ever questioned whether some of your male colleagues get more? Or have you talked to them and they confirmed it?
No.
Because maybe
I mean,
that's,
we had the same. Yeah, we were speaking about salaries, and we figured out that we have a similar salary. Maybe I have $200 less, but I don't know. For me, it was not an. I was not thinking, oh my god, gender pay gap. You know, like,
yeah.
I don't know. But then I'm like, yes, I was thinking about, okay, why he gets now this $200 more than I.
Do you
He
believe,
maybe he just simply just better negotiated. Maybe he just started with a higher salary.
speaking of
It can be so
negotiation,
many.
how often in comparison to men do women negotiate?
I have no idea. I'm very, very bad on that. I'm very bad at negotiating my salary.
Do
Very
you
bad.
renegotiate? Like, I don't know, let's say it's not a company which does it automatically for you, like
Yeah.
once a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's say it's not a company which has a policy that we negotiate salaries once a
Mm-hmm.
year based on review and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's up to you. Do you go up to your manager and say, hey, I want a raise or I'm leaving? Would you say
Mm,
that?
nee. No. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm
Yeah.
very bad in that, and then I know about that. I'm very bad in that. Um, yeah, I'm bad in that. But yeah, so I'm not thinking a man woman thing. I mean, gender wise, if I know that this role has a higher range and I am below that range, then there is something wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, then I would have a lot of questions. But
But then you
if
know
we're,
up front, if
yeah,
you go
yeah,
up to an
yes,
interview, you say this is how much I want. They say no, fuck that. This
yeah,
is how
yeah,
much we're gonna give you.
yeah,
Then you can say you can just refuse it. But if you accept it, then you indulge into the
yeah,
idea of you deserving less.
yeah.
As always, I have a script, but I
Mm-hmm.
never follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely follow it. I'll say that. So I want to kind of lean to a closing. We mentioned earlier the idea of outsource is not for you.
Yes.
I'm wondering, what excites you about design? Because obviously you do a lot of things which you already have done in the past, which in quote for some people this is boring. So what keeps you doing what you're doing? What makes you excited about this job, about this industry of art, of creation and whatnot?
Like being a designer and what what keeps me in that industry, and I have never thought about like changing my profession, for example. So I'm
Yeah, I was gonna ask, have you
oh
ever
really?
considered doing,
No.
I don't know, like, because for me, this was like a tough moment when I was a student. I was experimenting with everything because I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to know what am I good at? What can I bring to the
Mm-hmm.
world? And I tried a little bit of design, tried
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of front end, even had a job on the front end. Then tried a little bit of back end. I'm like, okay, I like back end. It's less gray hair, less stress. Let's do that. Yeah. So I was wondering if you had that moment in your life where you always,
Yeah, of course. I think my first job at the packaging design department slash agency. It was a tough job, and I was questioning. Oh my God, I was studying so much, so many years, and then living or working in this 24-hour job, where you have to be constantly creative. You sleep with your ideas, you wake up with your ideas, but you actually didn't sleep, and everything is not good enough, and you have to create more ideas, and all of them are shitty. And so I was questioning it, but I was not questioning it to giving up being a designer, but maybe just changing the company.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but I like to work in that creative industry, and being a designer, and I love what I'm doing, and I especially love being a product designer, because you add value and impact to what you are creating, and for me this is important.
The most direct impact, people user interface.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
cool, you know.
Is there anything you do outside of work?
I do sport. I'm kind of
Like
lifting weights. I'm
gym.
trying to become bulky.
That's good.
I have a daughter, which is 5 years old. So I try to spend outside of work more time with her. And that's it. I don't have time to
Sounds
read.
like a lot of
I would like
extra
to
work
read, which I don't have
activities.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We haven't talked a lot about Germany.
yeah. I
I'm
don't want to
wondering,
return.
do you have a message to all the Germans watching this? Do you recommend Moldova in the first place?
Yes. I'm living now 11 years here, or 10, actually 10 years here. And I think last year the phrase popped up, I don't want to return.
Yeah.
I really prepare now applying for citizenship. I really want to stay here. And working in IT in Moldova, um, I think, which is for many people a game changer, remaining in Moldova due to the fiscal, how to call it, fiscal
Facilities and whatnot.
facility. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very easy to create your own business, to try to things
Speaking of
out.
that, I'm wondering, is there anything in particular? Because of course, when you decided to move to Moldova, you didn't just, yeah, of course, it's love for the
Yeah,
for the other
yeah,
person.
but I was not thinking about fiscal
But now that you
facilities, right?
think about
Yeah.
it, is there anything you like more about Moldova than you do about Germany and whatnot?
Yes, of course. Um, it sounds maybe a bit weird, but I feel you have more opportunities, you have more playground to try things out. Uh, can be creating your own business, creating. I mean, you can create whatever you want, trying to use Moldova as a playground for your ideas,
Yeah.
which is in Germany impossible.
Is it
Like
because it's oversaturated
it's
already?
oversaturated, and it's very I mean, just to open your business, you are already bankrupt, like because it's expensive. You have so many
Bureaucratic rules to follow.
bureaucratical processes to follow, and
Does it depend on the land you're in? Like if you're Bavarian or whatnot,
no,
maybe
it's
the
the
rules are
same.
different,
It's the
or
same complexity. It's the same bureaucratical process, and it's not friendly. It's not. It's not friendly to for people who want to try something out. You
I've
have
heard
to.
Germans like maybe like they try to sometimes do it in a hacky way, maybe try to avoid all the German bureaucracy. They go Switzerland
Mhm.
because it's a bit more friendly when
Or
it comes to the
Netherlands,
laws
for
and whatnot.
example. Netherlands is also like
Yeah,
a plan B for people. I don't know. The, the way how Germany developed in the last 10 years, why I'm not there, no, I don't want.
well, uh, I can't wait for the moment when you become a proud Moldovan.
Mm,
Yeah,
yes.
I'd be there to congratulate you on your citizenship. So wish you the best of luck with that. I don't know what the process is like, but yeah, I'm hearing for the first
Oh,
time. Like,
you want to? So there is one thing,
yeah,
because it will compare Moldavian digitalization process, or
I heard German is really bad at that,
very bad, very bad.
especially when you try to like, because when I went to München, I tried to like just normal stuff like, okay, let me buy some fucking, I don't know, tickets, for
Mm-hmm.
not for the bus, for the train, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing is so complicated to use. They never arrive on time. It's, I mean, it's not like Moldova is perfect, but
Yeah.
when it comes to digitalization in
Yes.
particular,
Germany is far
really
away,
on point.
far away.
Yeah,
So in my whole application process, I need certain documents, and I need certain documents as well from Germany, which one is like a criminal record.
yeah, yeah.
In Moldova, you can apply today online, very easy, and get your criminal record translated in any language which you want, legalized with all the stamps which you need in digital form and in printed format.
I wasn't aware
Next
of that.
next day. Next day.
Yeah,
In Germany, yes, I can also apply online for this criminal record, but for that I need a specific ID card with a chip inside, which I have, but it doesn't work because the platform is very flickery. I don't know. It doesn't work. So I didn't have any other solution than me printing out a PDF online from a specific website, printing that out, filling it out in hand form, making an appointment at the embassy, German embassy in Moldova, going there with my with that paper, where they have to uh, legalize that my signature, that I'm Ramona and that is my signature.
yeah.
So they have to put their stamp that Ramona was here with her passport, and there her signature is the one. So this is the application form. Then with this shit, I was traveling now because it was Christmas time. I was traveling now to Germany and send it from there to another city to just apply for that criminal record. And I don't know when I will get it because it's not online trackable. I don't know when I will get it. So yeah. Yeah. So digitalization in Germany is like really, really far away. And it's a problem, It's a
Yeah, it's
problem.
something
Because it's slowing down a lot of things. It's complicating a lot of things.
does it have
Things
to
are
come
also not.
from the European Commission, or
I
like
don't know.
Germany can do it on their own?
No, they can do it on their own,
Because
but
technically they're like dictating what the European
yeah,
Commission is trying to push down everybody.
I understand it's about money. I understand it's about time, but come on, like 10 years passed, a lot of countries like Moldova, which is not part of the European Union, it's far ahead of Germany. 48, like so many people, a huge country,
It's
developed.
funny
It's
that
like,
you say that, because we look up to Germany,
the-
Sweden, all these countries from the West. Like, we want to
no.
be like them, have XYZ like them. Uh, I guess we still have a lot of catching up to do when it comes to other departments,
Yeah.
but digitalization in particular,
Yeah,
top notch.
we are top notch.
I'm really pleased with that, at least. Although it, like,
it can be
the
better.
thing is when you're a citizen of your own country,
Yes.
it's never good enough.
Yes, I know.
And that's the good part of it,
Yeah.
about it, because you always improve it, right? But when you compare it to other systems, then it's like, oh, it's really good, actually. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, to maybe end on a more interesting note, do you have any final piece of advice for anyone who's watching?
We have been talking a bit about design life cycle. How is it to work as a designer? We talked a bit about toxic environments, company culture, and I think we are also starting tomorrow a new year.
Oh yeah, technically soon, very soon
technically
today.
soon. And I think a lot of people are thinking about changing something, right? So
New year, new me type of shit.
yeah, and I also belong to the people who are afraid of changing something. But changing something means always opening another door. Yeah, it's people are afraid because it's uncertainty. You are not sure if it works or not, but there is always, just try it out. You have to try out. Just try something from your bigger picture, a small piece of trying to change, and see how it will grow. So changing.
The worst thing that can happen to you is you're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else is for your own sake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely do agree with that. With that being said, and since, as you said, it's very, very close to 2026, a few hours left, I'll share the same exact thing. I'll say, try to stay as much as you can out of your comfort zone, try out new stuff, try to get out of what's normal. Do not be normal, because if you are normal, you're gonna stay the same and you're never gonna grow, never gonna achieve anything in life. And once again, I'm extremely happy and pleased to have you on. It's been a while since we've seen each other, interacted with, and to be all the way honest, I'm happy to meet you, actually, because we've worked in the same company, but we haven't really met.
Yes.
So I'm happy to meet you now.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for joining and waiting for a V2 and whatnot, for a V2 in 2026.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this was VUnstaged. Keep your mind open and your source unstaged.